What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Now, you'll notice that the setup here is a little bit different than my other videos, and the reason for this is because I am using my older camera, the Sony a5100. I'm using my vlogging camera today, and the reason why I'm using a different camera is because in today's video, I'm going to share with you my YouTube equipment. Now, regardless if you are in the beginning stages of starting your channel and you don't know what equipment to use, or you currently have a YouTube channel and you are figuring out how to upgrade or all that stuff, then this video is suitable for you. The reason why I say this is because I'm going to be introducing a lot of equipment that I started with that I still use today, and also some other pieces of equipment that have really helped me in the filming process and has made my life so much easier. So with that being said, if you are interested in learning about all the different types of equipment that I use, then keep on watching. Now, the first piece of equipment that is probably the most important that you need to invest in as a new YouTuber or as a YouTuber in general is obviously your camera. Now, this is the camera that I film with mostly, and it is the Rebel T5i from Canon. If I could recommend any type of camera to a new YouTuber or any YouTuber in general, is to definitely buy a DSLR. Now, the reason why I switched from the Sony a5100, which is the camera that I'm filming with right now, to this one is because in the beginning stages of my channel, I was definitely using my vlogging camera, and I really actually liked it. I'll put some videos right here so that you can see the quality of how it looks like. And the audio was really great. Everything was awesome about the Sony a5100. However, when choosing a camera, you also want to think about the future that you want to take your channel. In my case, the future that I want to take my channel is I want to start actually filming videos outside. I want to start filming videos that are longer distance. And the problem that I had with the Sony a5100, the one that I'm filming with right now, is that it doesn't actually support an external mic. Versus when you buy something like a DSLR, you're going to be able to add on a lot of things. And in a second, later in this video, I'm going to show you the different tools that I use to add on to my DSLR in order to make it a beast when I'm filming. Another thing that you want to know about the DSLR, specifically this one, is when choosing a DSLR, you don't have to go for the most expensive thing. Just look at the body of the camera, because at the end of the day, the really awesome thing with DSLRs is that you can always upgrade your lens. What matters is the body. Now, that's why I really like the Rebel T5i, because in the body, I'm actually able to actually see myself when I am filming. A lot of DSLRs don't actually have this as a function, and it's really annoying when you are filming and you don't realize that you're out of focus, or you don't realize that the lighting is off. So having this really helps. That's why my biggest advice to you is that definitely invest in a camera where you're actually able to see yourself when you are filming, so that you can save yourself a lot of time and headaches. Now, the one thing that I do want to mention that I actually like a lot about my Sony a5100 is that the focus is a lot better. So regardless if I'm moving this way, or that way, the Sony will always focus on me, versus my Canon T5i. I have a lot of issues with focus sometimes, and sometimes I'll have to redo some clips just because I didn't see that I was out of focus. So that is the one thing that I don't love about the T5i, but at the end of the day, I do prefer this over my Sony a5100 because I'm able to add on a lot of awesome tools. Now, speaking of tools, the second piece of equipment that I want to show you is by far my favorite. It is a lifesaver, and it is this power adapter. Now, I'm going to show you step by step how this works, but essentially what this is that instead of having your camera die on you, what you can do, especially if you have a Canon or a DSLR camera, I'm sure that there's different ones for different types of cameras, so make sure you just Google it, is that you can actually insert this instead of a battery pack in your DSLR. And then you're able to plug this in to an outlet, and that's gonna help your camera stay on forever. Now, obviously you have to make sure that your camera doesn't overheat. I've never had an issue, but I've heard some reviews that it can happen. But essentially this basically helps me to make sure that my camera is always running when I'm filming. I know that when I was first starting out, I would have so many issues with my camera dying, me having to buy separate battery packs. This eliminates those issues. Now, how it works is when you have a DSLR camera, at the bottom here is where your battery pack usually is. When you have an adapter like this, all you need to do is actually insert this into your battery section in your Canon, and now it is connected to your camera. Then all you have to do is plug this into an outlet, and this camera will be running all day. Again, you don't want it to run all day, but it just really helps to ensure that your camera doesn't die and that you don't have to buy backup battery packs, because every YouTuber probably has gone through the issue where their camera dies and then they have to redo it, or they have to wait the next day in order to film, which is a huge pain in the butt. Now, another tool that I use that has really been a huge game changer for me when I'm filming is a remote. Now, what this is that it's basically a remote that links to my DSLR, meaning that I don't have to constantly get out of my seat, click on my camera in order to hit record. All I have to do is just click a button. This is also super helpful when I'm doing my thumbnail pictures. If I ever want to take a photo, instead of, doing self-timer, I can just take the picture with this remote. And so this has definitely been a game changer for me. Now, if you are a new YouTuber, you don't need this. It is not that essential. However, it's only like less than $10 on Amazon, so why not? And all of these reasons are the reasons why that I chose to go with my DSLR, because with my Sony camera, the a5100, I wasn't able to really add these things to make my filming experience better. And that's why I really prefer using my DSLR, just because I'm able to use things like a remote and use things like a battery charger in order to just make my filming process a lot more efficient. Now, one downside that I have with using Canon cameras specifically is audio. So if you are choosing a Canon camera, yes, the quality is really great. However, the one thing that Sony does better is audio. So when I started to use this camera instead on my channel, I actually got a lot of complaints that my audio wasn't good enough. Versus when I was using my Sony, without an external mic, the audio is really, really good quality. So in order to fix this problem, I actually had to buy a microphone to add on to my DSLR. Now, the microphone that I have is basically a lapel microphone. There are two different microphones that exist in the YouTube world. One where you basically attach to your camera, kind of like the Rode mic that's super popular, or one that you actually attach to your shirt. Now for me, after doing some research, I prefer to have the one that clips onto my shirt. I know a lot of people don't like that because it's ugly and you can see the microphone, but for me, I felt like it was the closest to my mouth, and because if I chose a mic like the Rode mic, I didn't want noises like my cat walking around to actually pick up. And also, because in the future I want to take more videos outside, I felt like this would be the better investment, because as far of a distance that I can go, it's still going to catch my audio. Now, if you're wondering how a microphone like this works, basically this is the microphone, you attach it to your shirt. This is just something that you put on your hip, and what this does is it will actually transmit to the other one. I don't know what they're called, but this little, I don't know, channel thing. And this one actually goes on top of your camera. And with this cord right here, you just attach it to the microphone part of your camera, and naturally while you're filming, the audio will automatically go inside the camera, and therefore when you extract the clip, it's already going to have a great audio. Now, I know what some people do is that they take the video and then they also take the audio separate, and then at the end, when they start to edit their videos, they kind of mush them together. Versus for me, I'm lazy. I prefer to have my clip already have great audio, and that's why I really like this route, where you have your camera and you can actually attach your microphone in that camera so that you don't have to do that extra step when you are editing. Now, speaking of editing, a really common question that I get is, Vanessa, which video editor do you use? Now, before I answer, I do want to say that when I was first starting out, I was using iMovie, and iMovie was perfect for what I needed at the time. And even then, if I were to go back to iMovie, I probably still could create the same videos using iMovie. The only reason why I switched is because iMovie just kept crashing on me, and that's why I decided to go with Final Cut Pro. Now, Final Cut Pro is definitely a lot more expensive than iMovie, so if you are a YouTuber that is just starting out, iMovie is going to be perfect for what you need. Do not go ahead and buy Final Cut Pro, especially if you aren't sure if YouTube is right for you. I think that the rule of thumb when you are starting out your channel is to be as scrappy as possible. When I was first starting out, I didn't have the microphone, I didn't have the remote, I didn't have the charger. All I had was a camera, lighting, and a tripod, and an editing software. And even then, if you are just starting out and you are on a budget, you don't even need a tripod. You could use books, you could just stack things, it doesn't really matter. But for the sake of this video, this is the tripod that I use, and again, all of the links are in my description box below. And in terms of lighting, even to this day, all I use is window lighting. I don't have professional lighting yet. I don't feel like I need to, just because my room is well lit. Now, if your room is not well lit, another thing aside from lighting is also perhaps changing the lens. Lens makes a huge difference in terms of how much light you actually get in your videos, but if you don't have that type of budget, then I highly recommend maybe a ring light or maybe even box lights. Now, I'm not the expert in this because I personally have not invested in lighting yet, but those are definitely the things that I've researched when I was starting my channel. Another thing that you might want to consider if you struggle with lighting is perhaps using a white backdrop. If you actually look at some of my videos, I had a white backdrop. It wasn't always this background, and the only reason why I really switched back to the office backdrop is because my audience didn't like the white backdrop that I was using. But truth be told, the only reason that I was really using the white backdrop is because when I was filming filming at the time, it was winter time and I didn't really have a lot of light. And by having a white paper backdrop behind me, it really helped to make my videos a lot brighter. So if you're interested in doing something like that, then I'll put the links below on how you can get the backdrop and how you can get the setup for that. I'll put some pictures right here just because they're way too big to actually show on camera. And that's it, guys. Those are all the equipments that I use for my personal channel. Now, if you are a new YouTuber and you really want to narrow down to what the essentials are, I would say is a camera and a video editing software. That's all you really need. Now, is audio important? Yes, eventually, but when you are just starting out, just at least test if this is something that you want to do. YouTube is definitely a huge commitment, especially if you want to grow on the platform. You really have to be consistent with it. And if YouTube is not something that you love, then do not spend all that money up front in order to start your channel. It's just not worth it. However, let's say you are a month or two into YouTube and you realize this is your passion, this is something that you really like, or it's something that just makes business sense for what you're trying to do within your own business, then definitely increase and upgrade your equipment as you go. Now, if you want to learn more about growing on YouTube or anything YouTube related, make sure that you also check out these videos right here. In the past, I have done a lot of videos on how to start a channel, how to grow your channel, all of these things, how I organize my content. So make sure you creep my channel and find the other videos. That being said, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and a great life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.